I truly felt the Lord direct me to record Punk Christ, to take an electric guitar and play songs about the Lord in punk rock style. So it seems fitting that I film this in a very noisy environment. We're standing in front of a roller coaster at Knott's Berry Farm that when we set up and decided to start filming this, it wasn't making any noise. And I think it's really fun to have all this screaming in the background. If I could film this in hell with the screams of lost souls, I would, but this is the next best thing. So the only thing we could do is hope for an earthquake or an electrical storm or Final Destination 3 or something to happen while the roller coasters are going by. God, that's so evil. Punk Christ is a worship record played fast on noisy electric guitars, and about 100 songs were considered for the record. That would be 100 songs were considered for the record. And I don't really know how the ones that ended up, but they did. I thought there was going to be a series of records of me and electric guitar, so I divided them up into 3 groups, and currently I've only recorded the one with no immediate intention of recording any more. But the first song on the record is All I Wanted, which came off of Burn in Hell, and it's a song about a 15-year-old who pushes the wrong button for the last time, and it goes directly into My Hands, which is also from Burn in Hell, and My Hands is a worship song, and I think it just kind of sets off the whole thing that we're in a very worldly, dangerous environment, and we're just going to keep poking and poking until something breaks, and then one day something breaks, and maybe that's the end of our lives or the beginning of our relationship with the Lord. And the third song is Lord, which is the song I wrote at 19, the night I got saved, and it's the new improved version of Lord. It's the Velvet Underground version. Kind of fun. Can't wait to hear how this sounds later. I got my notes, so I can clean them away. I don't know why, because I can't remember the order of the song, and if I did, I'd be forgetting it now with all this racket. But I have decided was the first song that I worked out for Punk Christ, and obviously it's a very popular church song, and I sped it up and made it my own, and I'm glad it made it on the record. As I'm glad about Sinners, which is an old Freddie and the Hitchhiker song that the Cramps did, and I pretty much rewrote the song because I wanted it to roll a certain way. I felt like Barbra Streisand rewriting Sondheim while he's still alive. Sinners is one of my favorite songs I've done. I've done it to death live because it's fun to tease an audience about how they're all going to hell and sit there laughing about it, and that goes right into Nobody's Fault, and Nobody's Fault But Mine is one of my favorite concepts, that at some point in your life you just can't blame your parents for not teaching you about Jesus, or other Christians setting a bad example, or sooner or later you just have to admit that it's nobody's fault but mine. If I should die and lose my soul, it's nobody's fault but mine. I did Go Tell It on the Mountain, and it's just kind of a combination of all the different versions of this song, everywhere from traditional to Peter, Paul, and Mary's version, and then there's lyrics of my own in it, and I liked it because it's spacious, that it covers different periods of time and it doesn't tell a linear story. It doesn't tell a linear story. It just makes you think about a bunch of different things, and it's fun to sing and fun to sing with. And then I go into the creepy when the saints go marching in, and it was a dark little song, and I wrote a verse for it about standing before the Lord, and I don't know. I guess for me, all of Punk Christ was an experiment in style, and yet trying to maintain the content without being disrespectful to the content, but still being reverent to how the Christian Pharisees would expect me to perform such content. And so I think I found new meaning and new meat on the bones to these songs. And I sang my favorite Christmas carol, Little Drummer Boy, and it's pretty close to Joan Jett's version of it, and mine's better. But I love the song because it's simply about we don't have anything except our talents to offer the Lord. You know, we have so little compared to what He's bringing us. And this kid, traveled to see the Lord, and he had nothing to offer except his ability to play his little drum, and I don't think it's corny at all. I don't think it's cheesy at all. I think it's a very, very powerful biblical statement that if all you have is a drum, then bang it for Jesus. And I love how the record turned out. I recorded it with Don Maloney, as I have my past few records, and he has an amazing ability to make me sound a lot better than I think I sound. And his editing here is impeccable, and the guitar sounds we got, I think, are classic. I think the record has a lot of Ramones, but it's also contemporary, like Social Distortion. And I just want to say for the record that I have nothing for or against Social D. I just noticed the guitar sounds reminded me of Social D. And my punk rock really comes right on the cusp of Iggy Pop and Lou Reed and New York Dolls. So for me, it's always a day right after that era of music where my punk rock starts. Like, I put Heal These People on this record, which was on my first record, Not Unclean, and it was also on Liberal Soul, spoken word. It's always had a great guitar presentation in concerts when I've played guitar that never got recorded, so I thought it was time to capture it as a guitar song. And it's a prayer for Christians to get up, stand up for their rights, and their rights are to remind people that Jesus is Lord and He loves them, and we are called to heal humanity. It's our job. Patti Smith, on her first record, wrote and performed the incomparable Kimberly, which is one of my favorite songs in history. And because I turned it into a song I could play on guitar with all the wrong chords, it's become a concert staple for me whenever I've played guitar. And to give myself an excuse to continue doing it at Christian concerts, I tacked on part of There Is Hope at the end of it, and it became one of my strongest concert songs. And I finally recorded it for this record. We have Kimberly / There Is Hope, and I love this song. It's great because I get to be someone who feels like Joan of Arc, and I think I have a baby during this song. It's great. It's a great role. I love this song. And it's great paying homage to Patti Smith, officially and formally. And I have an issue with rock stars who commit suicide or overdose. I don't listen to their records if they commit suicide or overdose. Very hard for me to do that. You can call it judgment if you want, but simply for me is there's too many people that were killed to have the opportunities of Kurt Cobain or the lead singer of Sublime, and it just breaks my heart too much. I was never a huge INXS fan, but I always admired them. I always thought they were good, and the lead singer of INXS is gone because of suicide, and I've broken all my rules. I don't listen to INXS, but I record one of their songs, and I recorded Devil Inside, and I just think it's one of the best songs of the new wave period. I don't even know what else to say. It just, you can ever see an excess video of the song. The song is so good and the video is so interesting. And the band really was a great band, and very sad what happened there, but I had to have the song, and I just broke all my own rules. And I bought the record, by the way. I do own an INXS record now, so maybe I'll start listening to Sublime again. I started doing I Don't Know How to Love Him at acoustic shows, and it ended up on one of my records as a track song with noise in the background. But I wanted to put it on a record as a guitar song, because I worked so hard coming up with an arrangement for it. And I love my punk rock arrangement of I Don't Know How to Love Him. It's for me, classic punk rock is you're this really hardcore, scary band, and then you do a really cool cover song, like the Stones did, the Monkees, I'm Not Your Stepping Stone, and X did Soul Kitchen, and Paisley Yankolovich did I Don't Know How to Love Him. And I feel like I'm part of a really cool club now. There's an old spiritual called Born Again that I'd been toying with as an a cappella song at live concerts. And if you put a gun to my head, I couldn't tell you if it ever made it on a record or not. I'm looking at the song going, did I ever record it on anything? Did I put it on Liberal Soul? So funny. I've met other artists and they totally forget the names of their songs or what records they've done. And I always thought, how is that possible? The answer is do 16 records in 8 years with 16 to 20 songs on each record and see if you can make that all stick in your head, whether or not you did it or not. But Born Again is really does have the words, you can talk about me as much as you please just because I'm born again, but I'll be talking about you when I'm on my knees just because I'm born again. And I love that, praying for your enemy. I love the song, and when I was messing around with the guitar and the amp and trying to come up with punk rock riffs that didn't sound like I was trying to come up with punk rock riffs, I loved how the song came together, and I couldn't wait to perform it live because I get right in people's faces and say, "Neener, neener, neener, I'm born again." And it's like, there's nothing they can do about it. Like, you can judge me all you want, but I'm born again, and so who cares what you think? And I think the best event around all of Punk Christ was my discovering This Train, which has been a song I've known pretty much my whole life, because I grew up listening to Peter, Paul and Mary, and I still listen to Peter, Paul and Mary. See, no suicides or overdoses there, so I'm safe. I'm safe with Peter, Paul and Mary. And This Train is one of my favorite songs. It's one of the earliest gospel songs I'd ever heard, and much like the other spirituals or the folk songs, it's passed around so much. There's so many different lyrics around. I went around and I read all the different lyrics to try to decide which lyrics I like, and of course I decided to write some of my own because I want to be part of the club. I want to be part of the group of people that contributed to the lineage of amazing music, and This Train is one of the greatest songs in history, and I loved the concept of being on a train headed somewhere, and people are getting on and off, and it's like the old joke of, okay, there's a school bus and there's 6 kids on it, and 2 kids get off at the first stop, and 4 kids get on at the next stop. What color is the bus? And I love the concept of it, but I'm so egocentric that I make sure every song I do ends up being about me, and I loved how This Train became my vessel, that I'm the train, that this train is bound for glory, and I'm a speeding train, and good luck stopping me. And it's that same attitude of neener, 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 I'm born again. And to me, that's what punk rock really meant. And I don't want to simplify punk rock in any way, because well, in my lifetime, punk rock was easily the most important musical movement in history. And in my life, not in history itself, but in my imagination. And punk rock bands and punk rock artists and punk rock fashion designers really got into people's faces and said, you know, you can't stop me. I'm going to do this because I believe in this, and this is important. And even if it sucks, I'm going to stick it in your face, because it's important to let people know they can't tell you how to live and how to be. And I don't think there's anything more punk rock than that. I don't think there's anything more subversive than that. I don't think there's anything more powerful than that. And I think Christianity at the heart is equally as punk rock. I got static from people calling the record Punk Christ, because punk and Christ were in the same sentence. And I was like, well, coming from me, it's the ultimate compliment. It's, you know, I could have called the record Rock God, you know, and which, by the way, is a really good name for a record, Rock God. I mean, it's pretty clever. If you steal it from me, it'll be a boil on your butt. But the rest of you, I remember Piss Christ, which was a photo of a crucifix in a bowl of urine that created quite a stir when it was paid for by the National Endowment of the Arts. So to call a record Punk Christ seemed like really logical. That you know, an artist doused a picture of a crucifix of Jesus on the cross in urine, and I doused a bunch of praise songs and, you know, introspective songs about my relationship with the Lord in, you know, in punk rock guitars, basically. And I don't think there was anything disrespectful at all in what I did in this record. I think I recorded a gospel record in a music style that I was comfortable with. And I've heard the record, and just comparing it to my other records, it's very well behaved. It certainly wasn't my intention, but it wasn't my intention to do anything other than be true to the concept. And I wanted to do something that totally reinvented Paisley. Like, I had done Paisley, the the guy in dresses and combat boots for about 2 years, and it was the longest I'd done one thing, and I was like, I need something here, and I just felt like the Lord said, just record a record like you've never done this before. What would you do if you've never done this before? And I said, what I would do if I've never done this before is I would form a punk band and do all worship songs. That's what I would do. And that's what I did. I just became the punk band, and I wore pants and it felt like I was cross-dressing, but I got used to it. In the end, it's just another record that I did at the time that I did it, and it was the best I could do at the time. And it's funny, I haven't done one of these in so long. I feel very disorganized and all over the map, but I guess that's punk too. The other night, I played the premier LA punk club, the Whiskey A Go-Go, which back in the day was the place that everyone would kill to play. And I played there the other night, and I sang an entire set of Jesus songs. And a friend of mine who was at the show came up to me afterwards and said, why on earth did you choose tonight, of all nights, of all places, to be so well behaved? And I said, I don't know. I think coming into this environment and singing songs about Jesus to this audience might be the most irreverent, disrespectful, and inappropriate thing I could have done. Therefore, it was the most punk rock thing I could have done. Therefore, I aced this baby. And that's how I felt about all of it. And I think in the end, the most subversive thing a person can do in this life is talk about Jesus. I think there's no appropriate place to do it. There's no easy way to do it. There's no right way to do it. And sooner or later, you're going to piss off everybody if you do it. I don't know. It's like spitting on the sidewalk in front of a cafe where people are eating. I think it's the same thing. You may as well be spitting on the sidewalk in front of a cafe where people are eating if you try to talk to people about the Lord. So put on some leather, put on some black, and go to a club and sing and dance about Jesus in Hollywood, California. Wow, I'm a punker after all. So the record closes with "For in Him We Live," and "For in Him We Live" falls into the category of, I can count on one hand how many times I've made choices on records that I immediately or ultimately regret. And I do have a regret for this song that first off, I want to say it was my choice, and as soon as I made the choice, I regretted it. I've prayed about it, and I feel like the Lord said it's perfect just the way it is, because I can go back and change it. But it's certainly going to inspire me to do something different down the line. On the third verse, when I sing, I will have the Spirit I will have. In concert, I speak in concert with the song. Right at that point. I did not do that on the record. And the reason I didn't do it on the record is really just innocent. I didn't think about it at the time. I just recorded the song, and then I went, oh, I didn't do that. And then when I thought about it, I said, I don't want to leave something here that people can accidentally make fun of and mimic in a hateful way that could hurt their souls. And I think that sounds very wholesome and Christian of me. And I think that it's easy to say I took the high road. It's also easy to say that I chickened out. And I don't think either is true. I think it's a choice between the green M&M and the red M&M. And I picked the red M&M. And then when I got home, I said, I sure wish I'd picked the green one. And so there are videos of the song in the manner in which I wish I had recorded it. for people to see, and maybe I'll really let loose speaking in tongues on a future record, just so I could say I wasn't afraid of doing that, and devil be damned. But I love the song For In Him We Live. I love it on the record. I don't want to take anything away from that. Punk Christ for me was like the first record I never did. It was just a bunch of songs that I really liked, pretty much all worship songs, give or take a few moments here and there. And certainly G-rated and family friendly, as long as your kids don't understand so everything after the opening song is G-rated. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm supposed to say about Punk Christ. I had a really cool afro for the videos for it. And I was going to go do a concert for and I was going to do a record release party for Punk Christ and do a concert at it. And I'd already cut off my hair, and I found a wig on eBay that looked identical to my real hair. For $5, it was a black disco wig. And I put it on, and it was like I'd never cut off my hair. It was so funny. And I was going to do that so I could get videos from the concert. And then I found on the internet, I forgot I had them on there somewhere, videos from the first time I ever presented any of these songs live with an electric guitar, me and a guitar. And I watched them, and I was like, there's no way I could do this any better now than I did the first time I did it. And there's really cool ditties like a punk rock version of You're So Vain, and Billy Preston's We'll Go Round in Circles, and stuff, stuff that never made the records, or at least in that fashion. So I said, you know what, done is done. Punk Christ happened. Punk Christ is complete. It is finished. And I want to thank the people that paid for Punk Christ. Are we out?